I would imagine this is a little bit more new oak.
Yes. Usually it's a minimum 20, but can go up to 30%, and it's all French. We used to have a lot more barriques in the past. Now we tend to use the 350 and 500 liters. So we have the tonneau, yeah, especially for the Sangiovese, because otherwise you get too much oak. Sangiovese is very sensitive to oak. Believe it or not, at the beginning, in the 80s, when we started 70s and 80s, when we started using the barriques, we thought that, like many producers in other areas like Napa and the New World, that the taste of oak was something good. You know, that gave more complexity to the wine. It is true, but it actually covers.
But you need, yeah, there's a limit.
Bravo. It covers the taste of the fruit, so you need to not to be too much, and so for that reason you have to really to calibrate.
I think that's very interesting. I think it's something that I'd like to see explored more. The 350, 500 tonneau, how that works with Sangiovese, because Sangiovese does take some oak nicely, but I think it's easy to put too much oak on it.
We also have a Chianti Classico cuvée that is called La Forra. That is a smaller production. It's a cuvée of Sangiovese, and it has about a little bit, like 5%, 6% of Cabernet Sauvignon in the blend. So it's not a super Toscan, still a Chianti Classico, but more modern than this. And with that we use entirely barrique, the small oak. And even there we are able not to have this excessive oak on the Sangiovese. Much easier if we use the 500 liters though.
So it's very interesting because you've got a pretty impressive range of terroirs, of styles, and yet it's all in Tuscany, and it's a majority Sangiovese that you're working with.
Yes.
So let me ask you a question. What does Sangiovese mean to you?
Well, it's in my heart. Let's put it this way. A lot of producers in Tuscany think that the variety is more important. It's so important that we shouldn't mess around with others. I think that's one excess. The other excess is people that make wines that all taste alike. We should stay in the middle. So we have the fortune of having one among all great variety, which is Sangiovese. We love Sangiovese because it's so well adapted to our environment in Tuscany. It's a variety that allows us to make wines that can be drank after 6 months, even Beaujolais Nouveau style wines, and we can make Brunellos aged 7 years, 6 years with the Riservas. We can make the blend with other varieties and still have very distinctive wines. So Sangiovese it's great. It's a tough beast because it's not easy to grow everywhere. It's very delicate.
It's a good thing.
Well, that's a good thing. You're right.
Tuscany has a special wine.
But it's tough because the berries are very the skins are quite thin. The clusters are big and tight. So that doesn't help if you get rain right before the harvest. It's not as easy to grow, to cultivate, to raise like it would be Cabernet Sauvignon, especially, but even Merlot. But it's nice. We love it. There are some other varieties in Tuscany that are indigenous, and they're interesting, like Colorino. Others that are established indigenous, but we personally not able to get the best out of them, and so we don't really work with them that much anymore, like Canaiolo or Mammolo. We don't think they have the characteristics, unfortunately, to be developed. But we do have a very, very strong terroir imprinting that goes also on the international varieties. We have a wine in Nozzole that is called Il Pareto. It's an IGT. It's 100% Cabernet Sauvignon, and it really does taste like Tuscany. So for those people that are very skeptic to the modern varieties and to ruining the traditions of the area, I say taste this wine, and most of them think there is Sangiovese in it, just to show you, even on an international variety, how strong is the terroir of that area if you can use it. So variety, it's very important, but also the region is very important. So you need to enhance both of these, and we have the potential to do it. The problem is, like you said before, it's not probably the best time right now because a lot of people are doing it, and the demand has dropped.
It's a little soft.
So, yeah. And plus, you guys here have the dollar that doesn't help us very much, and considering that this is #1 export country for us, it's so important. Used to be number one market period. In the past 15 years, we worked a lot on the Italian market because we are an Italian company. We don't want to see people that come over to Florence and are not able to find our wine. Florence is our number one market.
Wow.
We worked a lot on this. Believe me, it's really tough. And to be honest with you, I hope no Italian is gonna hear me, but I much more prefer to work here than in Italy, where we have to manage directly our own customers, which are restaurant owners. We have over 4,000 customers because we have agents that work on a commission, but they go there, place the order, and we have to manage everything: the invoicing, the delivery, and we have to go get the money.
Sounds like the agents have the good job.
Great job.
It might be difficult, but
it is, and it's people don't pay. It's really hard to work, and there is a lot of competition, a lot more because everybody's there and they all have the wine.
Surrounded by wine.
But we worked on that a lot, and now we are about 55% of our business is in Italy.
That's amazing, frankly.
It's even too much, I think. It's time to go back.
Well, as long as you can keep doing it. Keep doing it. Well, I think you're very fortunate to be in Tuscany, to have access to all of these great properties, to have access to 4,000 restaurant clients. I want to thank you for coming in and sharing a little bit about the identity of each of these wines, and I look forward to trying them.
Well, that's a pleasure, and I hope we could get a chance to taste them. Maybe with something to eat.
It's always better.
Yeah, I like it. That's another thing I like about the tastings in this country, that very often people put cheese, they put food, and that's so important for people, especially for the everyday wine lover, not the wine specialist.
Yeah, well, one of the things I always show people, because I think wine tasting, this will probably be edited out, but wine tasting is such bullshit because you taste wine out of a glass, spit, swirl, 5 minutes, come back an hour later, and people ask me about wine tasting all the time, and I say, is this what you do? And I pick up my glass and spit it out. If that's what you do, then wine tasting is perfect for you. If you open a bottle with dinner and have it for 3 hours, and the wine changes, and it changes with the food.
But that's the point. That's what we do most of the time. When we drink the wine every day, that's what we do.
That's what I do too.
And we don't professionally taste and spit, and we don't meditate with it. We eat with it. And so that's why the shame is that some of these wine experts tend to judge the wine not only based on that capacity, but also based on the structure, on the complexity. These fruit bombs,
on the power,
and then these wines could be good, but then if you bring it at the table with a plate of pasta or with a steak, you drink half a glass and then you leave it there, and that's not what we like.
It's horrible. I like. I love Sangiovese. For me, is one of the two grapes I drink the most of, Barbera and Sangiovese, because of the acidity. And sometimes you'll taste. For me, particularly Chianti, you taste a bottle of Chianti. It's okay, nothing special, and I'm cooking dinner, and then you have to sit down, and you still think, oh, it's okay, it's nothing special, but the bottle's empty at the end of dinner.
That's the point.
And it's
because you enjoy it, and with that acidity helps to
you
enjoy it more and to
it.
drink it more. And the more you eat, the more you drink, and you go through a bottle, and after you realize it because of the alcohol, but at that point you don't.
You don't.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I think the wine criticism has trained us to think about wine incorrectly, because we think bigger is better. Sometimes it is, but we forget that it's the most important thing for me for a wine is that it be drinkable.
Well, in some areas people started to realize that, and they're going back. In Tuscany, the Super Tuscan phenomena was brought into the Chianti Classico to an extent where the Chianti Classicos in the late 90s were were Super Tuscans. Now they're going back because they realize that even if they get a high score in some particular magazine, then the human being is not going to buy it because they're not able to drink a bottle of it. And I don't think that's a good sign.
I don't think it's a good sign either.
I don't like it because of what I do, and so I like to see people enjoying something I created, and also for the business, of course.
Of course.